Spokesperson Samajwadi Party who's joining us, and during the course of the conversation, gentlemen, as I say namaste to you and thank you to Professor Gurumurthy, we will also bring out some of the aspects that we have been able to access from the UCC draft of Uttarakhand. We'll come to that in a bit, but your opening comments on what Professor Gurumurthy had to say. Anand, let me start with you.
Good evening, Anand. That was a wonderful, a monologue from Mr. Gurumurthy, very pertinent. And if I can just add to that, 3 or 4 points I'd like to make, because to be honest, the Uniform Civil Code or the UCC, I feel is not just a necessity for India. I think it is a prerequisite for India's unity. Religious fanatics, Anand, may have held to ransom a generation previous to ours through partition. They may have held to ransom our generation through Shah Bano. But we will not allow them to hold to ransom our future generations. We have to say no to religious fanatics. Enough is enough. There are broadly 4 issues here, and please bear with me. Number 1, on the pretext of diversity, one cannot allow discrimination to flourish. And that is what has been happening. Just one example. Supreme Court recently conferred Hindu daughters with equal rights to fathers' properties going back to 1949, saying, I quote, Hindu texts recognize female rights, unquote. But in India, because of the verse 411, a Muslim daughter is entitled to only half of what a son is. Does this not bother our activists and those fighting for women's rights? Is this not discrimination? For how long will you make Muslim women suffer discrimination by shrouding them in this burqa of diversity? Number 2, there already is a uniform civil code applicable in Goa for decades. Yeah. Goa has a minority population of 38%. I ask you, are the minorities in Goa suffering or being discriminated against because of the Uniform Civil Code? On the contrary, they seem very happy. Number 3, the UCC is enshrined in our constitution under the directive principles. Dr. Ambedkar was an active proponent of it. Yeah. He rejected amendments of exceptionality by Muslim legislators to Article 35, now 44, that asks for UCC to be implemented. Quote, I personally do not understand why religion should be given this vast, expansive jurisdiction so as to cover the whole of life and to prevent the legislature from encroaching upon that field. After all, what are we having this liberty for? We are having this liberty in order to reform our social system, which is so full of iniquities, discrimination and other things, which conflict with our fundamental rights, unquote. Besides, the UCC has been ordered to be implemented on more than one occasion by the courts, most famously in the Shah Bano case. Quote, yes. A common civil code will help the cause of national integration by removing disparate loyalties to laws which have conflicting ideologies, unquote. Ambedkar ki nahi sunni, Supreme Court ki nahi sunni, Constitution ki nahi sunni, but Sharia ki sunni hai. And by the way, for bringing in social reform and equality to Hindu society, the Congress gladly brought in the Hindu Code Bill, but cowered away like a wet cat under a lamppost when it came to reforming Muslim society. I repeat, I am against any law or code that discriminates between gender, sex, caste, creed, religious denomination, communities or groups. Finally, Anand, just for the 4th point, above everything, there is a pursuit of a law or a code that begets what I call universal good. Yeah. That is just, equal and based on science. Only then can societies progress. We have seen this time and again. The abortion limit has been decided by science and it has changed over years. Was that not warranted? Infant vaccination, contraception, prohibited in many societies and groups. Was that not warranted? Similarly, science tells us that marriage of a woman upon puberty, sanctioned in Islam, demanded by AIMPLB and ratified by Indian courts, causes irreversible physical and mental damage to the woman's body. Should we continue to cause damage in the name of diversity? You want to continue to marry girl child because your community has been doing so while every other community in India has to follow the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act? Is this pro-woman? As I said, just 5 seconds, UCC will eradicate discrimination. It will unify us. Time has come, Anand, its time has come.
Well, the point is that if all of this is known to everybody, and what Professor Gurumurthy said, Abbas Haider, is that there is a fraud that's committed because Sharia itself has not been implemented in its true spirit. 3 aspects he himself outlined, in terms of they've given them the right to announce a will or an heir, which is not allowed, adoption, agriculture land, which is still prevalent all across North India. So, fraud to hai. So, why back it?
I respect the opinion of Anand Ranganathan bhai. There are 2 Anand ji here on this panel. See, the problem is this is not about UCC or CCC. It is about ECC, that is election code. Election code. So I think Bharatiya Janata Party is not serious about uniform civil code. Bharatiya Janata Party just want to see as a instrument to help them in 2024 election. I truly understand that Article 44 propagates this, but that is an ideal situation. And for that ideal situation, the government needs to work on and create an atmosphere of trust among citizens. But the government has failed to do so in the past 9 years. And in fact, the previous government of NDA and other government as well. I think that, the current NDA government for the past 4 years, they have not formed a law commission in this country. They took 4 years to form a law commission, 22nd law commission. And when the law commission had asked for opinions, I think we are jumping to conclusion, which is quite unfair. I think the government should try to bring uniformity among opportunities for the citizen. Government should try to bring uniformity in income among citizens. But on the contrary, the disparity in income has increased in our country. Government has failed to do so. And on the other hand, Article 25 is the fundamental of the Constitution, which gives right to every citizen to profess and practice their religion. And which, however, the directive principle of the state policy, they are not part of the Constitution. They are not the fundamental of the Constitution. And
it is part of the Constitution. It is enshrined, sir.
Policy our current government has followed. The directive principle of state policy also asks direct the government to create a scientific temperament, to promote scientific temperament in the country. But on the contrary, when our Prime Minister says that we can make tea from nali ki gas se chai bana lenge. When they see that plastic surgery happened in this country 2000 years ago, when they say that internet was there 2000 years ago. So I don't know where we are moving towards.
Well,
they talk about women's rights, they talk about equal rights to women. Yes, we truly believe in that. As a member of Samajwadi Party, I am proud to say that in Samajwadi Party, 70% in the organization of Samajwadi Party, 70% of the seats are reserved for minorities, OBCs, women and Dalits.
Okay.
But on the contrary, the RSS does not have even a single woman in their main organization. They have created a section of women among RSS just to show that we have women. So this is what they believe in women. They does not.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. I have to intervene because there are certain points that you have made which are very, very devoid of facts and they are not true, sir. So, but I'll let Anand respond and then I'll make some of the points. Yes, Anand.
Now, I have great respect not only for you, Anand, but for Abbas Bhai as well. But I would like to ask a very simple question. Doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani karna is the best solution. So, isme I will request both of you to answer in the yes and no. Anand, everyone on this panel believes in equal rights for men and women. So first I ask you, Anand, and then I ask Abbas ji. Anand, should the daughters get equal share of inheritance like sons?
Of course. I would say the daughters should get more.
Please ask Abbas ji.
No, Anand, I truly believe in that. But I am not representative of a particular community. You should understand this.
No.
I'm not
you are an Indian citizen, na? Abbas Haider, you can answer as an Indian citizen, as a Samajwadi Party spokesperson. You are for it, right?
No.
You're for equal rights. Yes and no answer. Don't qualify. Yes and no answer. I'll come. Yeah, yes and no. You are personally for it. You answer in personal capacity.
If the government should have reached
you answer in personal capacity, Abbas.
It would have been done long back.
Abbas, you answer in personal capacity. You answer in personal capacity. You're for it, right?
Anand, there is no point.
No, I'm not here to answer anything on personal capacity.
Okay, as a spokesperson of Samajwadi Party, do you believe that both boys and girls should have equal rights in inheritance? Okay, let me ask you as spokesperson of Samajwadi Party, do you and your party believe that boys and girls should have equal share in inheritance?
Certainly, if we cannot hamper the the fundamental of the Constitution, which Article 25 gives
Arey
us.
bhai, yes.
People have right to practice and profess their religion. And if something is there
No,
in the
it's
religion,
not. One. There again, fallacy. Sorry. Now, please. No, Abbas, please yield. Abbas, please yield. Please yield. There, either a 3-letter word or a 2-letter word in English, sir. उसके लिए आपने जलेबी जैसे भी लंबी आपने गोल-गोल घुमा के आंसर दिया है. But I will let it be. My point is, sir, please hear me out. Personal laws are not core part or inherent part of a religion or a theology or a faith. Personal laws are civil contracts and these are common social practices. They are different from religion. You have the right to practice and profess your religion, but you do not have the right to be unequal if you are following a secular constitution. Either you are secular or you are not, sir. If you claim to be secular, then you have to ensure that the law is equal for all. That personal law specifically is equal for all. Secondly, one way. Secondly, sir, do you believe the earth is flat or round?
But we must understand when.
Do you believe the earth is flat or round? Do you believe the earth is flat or round? Sir, second question, sir. Third question. Can an act that does not actually comply to Sharia be called a Shariat act? Third question.
No, I'm saying that I'm not here to reply on Sharia or anything.
Sir,
I'm saying that
I am asking you legislation. It claims to be a Sharia act, but it is not a Shariat act. It does not represent fully Sharia. So is it legal or illegal? So on all 3-4 questions, you're not giving me straight answers. Anand Ranganathan.
To enact UCC.
Yes,
Sir, what is your responsibility to create a mahal, to create an atmosphere that everybody agrees? What is your responsibility as a party? Your party was in government, has been in government multiple times in Uttar Pradesh. How many times have you talked about bringing in a uniform civil code in Uttar Pradesh?
No,
in the past.
I'm saying
how many leaders in our country have said, let us follow Goa, let us have a uniform common civil code? Other than Pushkar Dhami, which other chief minister has done it? He's from the BJP. Which other chief minister has done it who's not from the BJP? Across the last seven and a half decades.
Even there is a clause in the Goa Civil Code that if a male child is not born through a wife, and wife gets 30-year-old, he can remarry. So,
sir, but there is a Goa civil code, na? That the Portuguese left and the Goans adopted, and like Anand Ranganathan said, 38% of Goa population is minority. Nobody is coming out and saying, "Mere adhikar chin gaye." Everybody's got equal rights. That's the important aspect. Sir, Anand Ranganathan.
Anand, can I?
Anand, yes, Anand Ranganathan.
I'll be very honest.
Abbas,
please, I didn't interrupt you. To be very honest with you, Anand, let me just say this straight up. I do not blame Abbas Bhai at all, because the issue is not of Abbas Bhai or even of, and I have read the All India Muslim Personal Law Board detailed document that they published 2 days ago saying that do not touch our laws and you can still implement UCC if you want. That is totally, renders the applicability of UCC ineffective, but I don't blame them, because please understand, they cannot go against the word of Allah. So when Allah says in 4:11 that the daughter will get an unequal inheritance compared to the brother, Abbas or any of the 2 billion Muslims around the world cannot go against his word. So it is unfair on my part, I confess, to
I'll tell you, I disagree with you there. Anand Ranganathan. I'll tell you why. Because for a long time, there was no share in inheritance that was actually given at all in Jammu and Kashmir. In Jammu and Kashmir, Shariat, like Professor Gurumurthy said, was implemented in 1985, and even then not in the true principles. So the wife, and it was a court ruling that allowed ladies who are actually related to the former chief minister their right to inheritance for their children also. So in different cases, different notes are sung.
Standards.
So, and I'll tell you, they continued to be Muslims in our country for 1000 years, sir. From the 10th century onwards till 1937, Muslims were all across India. In fact, in Thrissur, where I am born, Islam came in the 6th century AD. The first time Islam set its foot on ground in India, the evidence is 6th century AD.
Absolutely.
So
and
so
I
since
don't know
then,
if Abbas Bhai has actually read the constitutional debates where Dr. Ambedkar mentions, and I can quote him. He says that in Kerala, he's talking of pre-independence.
yeah.
Muslims were following the Hindu code bills.
Yeah.
They were following the Hindu laws.
The Marmukatayam
of
law.
succession.
The Marmukatayam
So,
law was
you
the
know-
one that was followed, where the matriarchy or the maternal inherent as the leader is the law that was followed even by the Moplas. It was followed even by the Moplas. What Baba Sahib Bhimrao Ambedkar, the examples that he has cited. See, he says apart from the Northwest Frontier Province up till 1937 in the rest of India, the United Provinces, the Central Provinces and Bombay, the Muslims to a large extent were governed by the Hindu law in the matter of succession. In North Malabar, the Marmukatayam law applied to all, not only to Hindus but also to Muslims. He also then said that it is a matriarchal law. It is no use making a categorical statement that the Muslim law has been immutable law which they have been following in ancient times. He said it is quite certain, and he also and then he has more examples have been cited. I'm just citing a few here. The other point, Abbas Haider, I'm asking you is, sir, what is your responsibility as a party in opposition today, the second largest party in Uttar Pradesh, a party that's been in government in the past? Where is your responsibility of creating an atmosphere that we have a common law?
See, Anandji, the problem is the government was sitting idle for past 9 years. They have been doing nothing. And all of a sudden, in February this year, they have formed 22nd Law Commission. And they want responses from citizens in 30 days. So these laws cannot be enacted all of a sudden. What has the current government done?
75 years it's been discussed, Abbas Haider, and you're saying it cannot be implemented all of all of a sudden.
They have done nothing.
Anand, you know what my worry is?
2014 से 9 साल आपने गिना है. Please tell me, sir. Please tell me. You can even refer. You can. I'll give you 2 minutes to refer. 2014 से 2019 के बीच में सपा के कितने एमपीज थे, सर? सपा के कितने एमपीज थे लोकसभा में? सपा के कितने एमपीज थे राज्यसभा में? 2014 से 2019 तक सपा के कितने एमपीज थे? How many MPs of the Samajwadi Party in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha? How many times did they raise this question or this issue? And did they want the common civil code to be debated, and did they pressure the government of the day to bring in a common civil code in our country?
This is not about UCC, this is about ECC.
Sir, if that is the case, then you should be the first person to say. Sir, if it is about ECC, then you should be the first person to come out and say we want a common civil code, and we dare the BJP to bring it.
We are debating on it.
If you believe, sir, if you believe that that a common civil code will get the BJP votes, the opposition should say bring it tomorrow and take all the votes.
4 years to form law commission.
Anand Ranganathan, if it is about elections and if it is about votes, Anand Ranganathan, the opposition should unite and say we dare the BJP to bring it. We are backing UCC.
But yes, but you know what my real worry is, Anand? Let's be very honest about it. Let's talk about the ground reality. When BJP brought in an act or a law, CAA, that did not affect the Indian Muslims at all, and it was at pains to say this and prove it. But what was the result? There was large-scale violence, stone pelting, there were illegal blockades, there were protests, there were threats for killing, mayhem ensued for a year. And here there is going to be, if a law that comes, it affects millions of Muslims. So I want to ask plainly Abbas Bhai. Abbas Bhai, this time, will there be an upheaval, arson, looting, stone pelting or protest like there was in CA? Please let us know.
In fact, now there are fakes doing the round. In fact, there are actually fake letters doing the round in the letterhead of the Law Commission on WhatsApp, and the Law Commission has actually sent out an alert saying Law Commission of India cautions people against fraudulent WhatsApp text messages and calls being circulated regarding Uniform Civil Code. The Commission clarifies that it has no involvement or connections with these texts. So this entire game of misinformation has started yet again. And so who's playing a responsible role there? Responsibility सिर्फ opposition की है, government की है, opposition की नहीं है. Who's allowing these? So who's putting these messages out and who's circulating these misnomers and misinformation? That's a big question. Anand Ranganathan and Abbas Haider, thank you very, very much for joining us on this debate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's hope that there is a consensus and that act that divided India is removed, ladies and gentlemen. That's the act.